Thank you for joining me today for our latest webinar, Unlocking the Power of AI Chatbots in Tax and Accounting. My name is Lee Reams. The second, I'm the founder and CEO of CountingWorks and our sister company, taxbuzz.com. I have been working with independent tax and accounting professionals for many decades, helping them establish their brand, retain clients, and grow their firms. My expertise in artificial intelligence started about a couple of years ago with following OpenAI, really seeing what the technology might bring, and then starting to plan how we could utilize a lot of the intelligence and knowledge base that we have developed over the years with our literally thousands and thousands of blog articles, hundreds and hundreds of tax guides, all our tax planning strategies. And it was kind of an idea, is like, okay, at some point, is AI going to be good enough to be able to take this content and deliver a tool, kind of a practice assistant? And once we started establishing that, yes, this is a possible addition to our product line, we invested heavily in it. And today I consider one of our tools, Alpha Copilot, to be one of the most powerful AI tools in the tax and accounting space. I have published articles in Inside Public Accounting, Bloomberg Tax, CPA Practice Advisor, Accounting Today, and Forbes, amongst others. And I'm also the host of the Growth Minded Accountant podcast. So hopefully you are a follower of me there as well. It's a lot of fun. We talk about a lot of marketing and practice management tips there. So let's get into this webinar. I'm going to do two things. The beginning is going to be a little bit AI 101. I think it's necessary because I still see a lot of pros who, don't totally understand how to get the most out of the technology. They don't totally understand it. Some are still fearful. Some treat it like a Google search engine. Others kind of treat it like a first grader, meaning if you write a first grade prompt or a question or query request to AI, it's going to respond to you in a first grade type of way. And I think once you understand how to engage the AI technology and how to write prompts, how to give it instructions, context variables, I think you're going to find it really, really valuable. So there's four main power points here. One is I want the tax and accounting pros to embrace this change. AI is not a competitor. It is a collaborator, 100%. I don't know where it'll be in 10, 15 years, but no one does. So today it is a tool that's going to help you drive economic growth. You're going to save a ton of time. You're going to be more efficient. And quite honestly, I think it's going to empower you. There's a lot of talent in the tax and accounting space. And a lot of times, that talent has been wasting doing routine tasks, manual type things. Labor intensive things. And I think if you start using and understand how to use AI to its full potential, one, there's two ways to use it. One is just automating some of your workflows, and B, just becoming kind of like Superman type of person where you can get so much more out of your experience by utilizing AI to really help your clients in a better way. So I'm going to go in. This is a little of the 101 stuff. I'm sorry if some of you already get this, but I think it's important just to start at the basics. So what is AI? It's a simulation of human intelligence and machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. So that's the big point. Number one, it's a simulation. And number two is, how does that work? Well, there's machine learning, meaning it learns from feedback and experience, and it gets better and better over time. And we have seen incredible strides in our artificial intelligence. From when I started really heavily, we started testing this out about a little over a year ago. We were getting like 50% accuracy. With our AI Copilot tool, we're getting in the high 90s in the accuracy. Every once in a while it might have a number wrong. Maybe, if I don't prompt it correctly, it goes down a little bit of a rabbit hole, but usually that's on me at this point, right? So machine learning, it gets a lot of feedback. So the way they do that is, like that plus or the big thumb up, thumb down, thumb is giving it instant feedback, right? Is this a good answer, not a bad answer? And then we have a lot of human involvement. We have some human insurance checks, and every time we go through, we fact check that gives feedback back to the machine. In addition, AI understands natural language. So if you learn how to talk to it, you're going to get the best output. So that's kind of the biggest part of what we're going to do. We're going to do kind of a live session of maybe 10, 13 prompts, about 25, 30 minutes worth of it. And I'm going to do it live. So you're going to see it in real time. How should you be talking to the AI to get the best outputs? So why it matters to you, I think you're getting it. AI can handle tasks, everything from data entry We have a new tool that summarizes your client uploads. So in our client hub, as clients upload documents, let's say they uploaded a 1099 form, let's say it was a PNG file, the AI is able to scan that document, summarize it, and then actually have the data available that it could scrape out of it. So it's a huge time saver. And then another use case would be to automatically then put each document into its own folder. So there's a lot of ways to look at it. Everything from writing client emails, writing tax plans, blog articles, social media posts, to transforming your traditional workflows. It will make you more efficient, accurate, and profitable. And that is happening today. So definitely something you should be looking into. The other big thing I see, and the reason I have these two slides are a little long for what I could have just said, the difference is pretty easy, but I want to break it down. We see a lot of times professionals using AI chatbots as a search engine, and it is not a search engine. The idea is to have a conversation, to actually get outputs from the chatbot versus just searching and then clicking into other links and then doing the research for me. And an example of that is ChatGPT, for example, let's say the new tax code comes out and you want to summarize it for your staff. You could give it instructions to go through, and let's say that was a 500-page PDF document. AI could go through that, summarize it, bullet point it, and give you a summary that you could have a client meeting or a staff meeting the next day in moments, versus you and your staff going through, analyzing everything, reading through all 500 pages. It's just really, really solid with that. So let's get into the main points. There's 5 of them: interactivity and personalization. ChatGPT has a conversational interface, allowing for interactive and nuanced dialogue. It adapts responses based on the context of the conversation, meaning the human, you are leading that conversation, versus Google. Basically, it gives you a query back, a search results, and it's a list of links in response to queries. They do snippets at times, so they're kind of stealing other people's ideas, right? But it's not, they're relying on you to navigate and interpret the results versus the artificial intelligence doing that for you. Information presentation: ChatGPT generates comprehensive and succinct summaries, explanations, or responses directly in the chat, versus Google just indexing and ranking web pages. And it also can be gamed at times. You'll see the bigger brands will consistently be at the top. That's not always the best data. Google often will reward those that probably don't deserve to be rewarded. So I think that's a big thing too. Learning and adaptation: ChatGPT continuously learns from a wide array of sources up to its last update. I'll talk about this a few times. Alpha Copilot, our tool, our technology, we train in real time. We're literally training it every day. We're updating it with the latest pubs. We are feeding it new tax planning strategies. If there's a new tax court case, if there's a new state development, we are giving that, we're adding that to our knowledge base. Google is going to be more up to date as far as the news and information, but its algorithm is basically watching your patterns. What are people clicking on? What are they not clicking on? And making constant changes, so the results that come from the search engine change as well. The purpose and use cases: ChatGPT best suited for educational explanations. Hey, tax and accounting pros, that fits you perfectly. Brainstorming: a huge element of ChatGPT is brainstorming. Often even just ask it to do a client intake form or an onboarding process. I can give a lot of different use cases, but there's things in there that you would never have thought of that ChatGPT has been trained on, others have done, and it really helps. So generating content and interactive learning: Google ideal for finding specific websites, news, research papers, and the latest information on any given topic. And then we talked about real-time information. The ChatGPT is limited to its last training update, unlike Copilot, AI Copilot, our tool. It's also to its last training data update, but ours is maybe yesterday or a few hours ago versus 6 months or a year or 2 years ago, whatever. And then Google offers real-time access to latest information, news, and data available on the internet. So I'm sorry for this long-winded one, but I think it's important to really understand that. We talked about this a little bit earlier, but how AI works: it's a combination of this machine learning and natural language processing that together it helps handle complex tasks traditionally performed by humans. And this is the big deal. It is able to analyze large volumes of financial documents to answer client inquiries, significantly reducing the time and effort required for routine tasks. And we're going to show you quite a few of those as we go through here. For those that are using this webinar for continuing education, we do have polling questions throughout. This is our first one. What is artificial intelligence? A simulation of human intelligence and machines that are programmed to think like humans. B, the latest iOS form. C, another search engine like Google. Or D, a type of computer virus that spreads intelligent malware. The answer is A, a simulation of human intelligence. Some of you may be watching this as a recorded webcast. We may still have the ability to get continuing education. If you go to taxcpe.com, we'll have this as one of our free courses in our library, and you can register and just fill out the survey there. Otherwise, I'm going to continue on. So I think this is a big point too, in understanding the guided assistance, which we'll call the co-pilot version, versus fully automated AI. So I gave you a use case. A fully automated AI is like in our client hub, where a client's or client documents are loaded to the client hub, and you have it set up that you can summarize the documents that were uploaded. That is like a fully automated. And then take a step further, then let's say the AI then would sort that document into a folder structure based on the type of document it is. Okay, so that's an automated. You're not doing as a human doing anything. It's just basically set up to automate that workflow. It does it for you, and you may be saving 10, 15 minutes, 20 minutes of time by per client by automating it there. Versus Copilot is where you, the human, are directing the inputs, right? So you're asking the required specific prompts. That's mostly what we're talking about today. And it's collaborative, right? So it's augmenting your human expertise rather than replacing it. And what I mean by that is the smarter you are, the smarter you and the AI are. I mean, I feel that you're going to feel like you have an army of staff behind you once you master how to use AI. I have an example here in tax research. A professional might ask AI to investigate specific tax law changes. This is kind of, affecting small businesses. The AI requires this prompt to start its research, relying on human guidance to navigate the task, right? So I think this is pretty self-explanatory, but I wanted to make sure you understand, because I want you to look for technologies in both spaces because they can both save you time. So here's some just general use cases. One is automating repetitive tasks. So what are those? Simplifying daily operations. I gave you that example of documents loaded into your client hub, automatically summarizing them. What did you have to do in the old days? You had to open up the document, you had to look at it. If it was a photo, then you need to transpose data, you're going to have to do data entry. If you have the summarize tool, and if it even synced with your software, it would pull that data in directly. So that's number two, data entry. Transaction categorization, that's the other item that I was talking about. And then the operational efficiency. So, the real benefit here is it allows you to allocate your time to more valuable advisory roles and client interactions, versus just doing all these manual tasks, right? So that's kind of obvious. This seems to make sense. Second one is enhancing accuracy. AI can reduce human error. Since it has the ability to look at such huge amounts of data with precision, you're not going to have keystroke entry issues. You're going to diminish the risk in calculations, specifically when you're analyzing, let's say, income statements, balance sheets, historical financials, things like that. Obviously, real-time learning, it gets smarter and smarter as it goes. Tools like AI Copilot, we have human verified content training it. So, think of it as like we basically have done the cliff notes of the tax code and loaded it into our platform and trained it on it. And we then give it human verified fact-checked responses based on people asking, hey, is this correct or not inside the database? So that makes it a lot smarter. And then the other thing is obviously, if you're trained on the latest data that's verified by industry experts, means your staff can provide their clients or your clients with more reliable, error-free services. So one disclaimer here, AI is not perfect. It does make errors. Sometimes it might pull like an old date or something. So you as humans definitely need to be the QC, be the proofreader here. But the reality is, if it can save you, hours of time, and then you're just reviewing and oh, there's a question about a number, I think that still makes you much more efficient. AI can provide you real-time financial insights, so instantaneous analysis of documents. If you're using our tool and AI Copilot, we allow users to upload PDF files. You can analyze URLs. If it is client data, we have set it up basically like a gated AI component where we are not learning on that data. So you can literally have your client tax return, for example, or an income statement, and load it and get instant answers. We do not save that data. We just use it for that particular thread, and we do not train on it. So it's really important. You have continuous monitoring. And there's a couple tools, like we have a new, I'm going to call it a experimental tool on tax harvesting. I'm just going to give you an example, where we can sync up a custodial account of one of your clients, for example. It can do in real time monitoring their portfolio positions and then do live AI created recommendations for what positions they might want to harvest some gains and or if they have some losses. So that is like real time monitoring. We're also starting to experiment in our client hub, having something similar where the technology is going to be able to read through all your client documents and then based on what data is there, do real-time recommendations. So maybe, see something in a tax return and something is missing or something is high or ratio is high and recommend some sort of tax planning strategy. So it makes it really, really cool. But I think this is pretty new and sometimes professionals got to get used to this time. There's a lot of disruption here. Like even on our tax harvesting tool, so everyone's like, some people, not everyone, but some people are, oh, I only do this year end. And, we did a bunch of analysis with the data. And if you did it year round, the alpha, we call it tax alpha, it gets significant 50 basis points to 150 basis points. If you do that over a period of time, it's a significant amount of money when it comes to a portfolio. So I have a couple case studies here before I start getting into the actual prompting. Case study one, and this is just obvious, but I just want to get you started here. So streamline tax research with AI. There's a mid-sized firm spending significant time and staff doing tax research for clients. You may have software that does this, but you still have to analyze what the software brings back. That's more like a search engine versus a analytical assistant, right? So what do you need to do? The solution is implement an AI-powered tax research tool equipped with natural language processing. The tool could quickly analyze vast amounts of tax-related data, identify relevant information, and provide actionable insights in real time. So what are the benefits here? One, time savings, obviously. B, accuracy. And three, client satisfaction. So that's use case one. The other one is automating document management with AI. A firm has an influx of documents, and exactly what I'm talking about right now. AI could process and sort and categorize and organize these documents that right now is error prone and more importantly takes a lot of labor. So that's another way. So what do you get? You get efficiency gains there. You get improved accuracy, and more importantly, this is scalable. Now you have a tool that is scalable. You can handle more clients if you like, with the same amount of staff. So I think these are just two, just get you started, case studies, which leads us next into our next polling question. When selecting an AI tool for your practice, what is an important factor to consider? We didn't talk about this too much in my previous part, but this is kind of obvious one. The color scheme of the AI tool's interface. B, the tool's ability to provide accurate outputs. C, the number of social media followers the AI tool has. Or D, the geographical location where the AI tool was developed in. Obviously, I think the accuracy would be what you would think here. Which leads us into kind of we're starting to get into the guts of the presentation. So what are the time savings with AI? Quantifying efficiency gains, data entry, document management, research, client communication. We're developing, so we have AI chatbots right now that we're going to start putting on our clients' websites. And they're going to start answering a lot of the questions, right? Routine client inquiries, routine questions, things that you may not have a billable way to deal with right now. But you can, start providing a little bit of better service. So I think those are important things to look at. So now we're going to get into the fun stuff. So prompt writing. So what is the idea here? So one is you want to craft effective communication. So prompt writing is the cornerstone of effective interaction with AI. It's a skill, and once you figure it out, it is awesome. So what is that? Clarity and specificity. Clear, specific prompts yield more accurate and actionable results from AI systems. Avoid ambiguity or vague language to ensure precise outcomes. So the better you are at writing prompts, the better your outputs are going to be. And then if you get an output that's not perfect, understanding the nuances to ask a follow-up question is really going to help you fine-tune and become more efficient. The next one is contextual understanding. So providing context within prompts helps AI systems better comprehend the intent behind inquiries, leading to more relevant and insightful responses. So I gave an example here. Instead of asking tax information, please, we see this. I can't tell you how crazy it is in AI Copilot, some of the really vague, open-ended questions that are asked, versus retrieve the latest tax rates for small business in 2024. That gives the AI exactly what you're looking for. It's going to get you to the final output very quickly. It is an iterative improvement, so continuously refine prompts based on AI feedback and outcomes. So you're going to learn too, well, if I ask it this way, I got a bad answer. But if I hone my ability and I take it a different way, I write it a different way, I get a better output. So key takeaway, mastering the art of prompt writing enhances the effectiveness of AI interactions, maximizing the value derived from AI tools. So pretty self-explanatory, I think. So tips for effective prompts. One, be clear and specific. Two, use natural language. Three, provide context. Four, ask direct questions. And five, utilize keywords. So what are the things that I feel people don't do well? I think they don't get enough detail. A lot of times, if I'm writing a prompt, I'll just start doing a brain dump basically, and I'll just free form a paragraph or two of what I want to do. So if I'm writing a blog article, I'm doing research, or let's say I'm doing a PowerPoint, I'm going to start with some research type questions. So perhaps I'm going to ask, let's pretend it's a blog article. I'm going to ask AI, what are the most important issues facing restaurant owners as they scale from one restaurant to multiple locations? That might be my first prompt. And then based on what it comes up with, I would say, okay, if we were going to target, let's say it has 3 or 4 different ideas, I would then take one of those and then say, okay, now I want to write a blog article, 1,000 words for restaurant owners that are growing from 1 to 5. And based on this pain point, please create this. I want you to use this tone. I want you to use examples. I want you to use storytelling within it. So now are you starting to see what I mean by natural language? I'm actually just expanding on the instructions for the technology. And that is where we are, all 5 of these points here. I'm clear and specific. I'm using natural language. It understands that. Context is that background. What am I really trying to do? And if it understands that background, it will get to your output much quicker. And then the keywords. So you definitely want to include those because you want those to be included in your copy. Tips for effective prompts. These are actually really important. Number 2, stay patient is the most important one. But iterate and refine. You're going to get better and better at it. And sometimes I've had, simple tasks that the AI and I haven't gotten along. And at times I'll just close the thread and I'll go back and start over. It happens occasionally. And that's where you got to be patient. But usually I blame myself because I asked it to do something that it just went too far. Sometimes it gets too flamboyant in the copy. I've asked it to write comedic or like a certain type of writer, and it takes it to extreme. So you got to be careful. And that's why you need to be patient with it. So understand it's a machine, understand that it's garbage in, garbage out. So the better you are, the better you're going to see. And then seek clarification if needed. So don't hesitate to seek additional information or rephrase your prompt for better clarity. And you can tell it, just speak to it, just like I am to you, and it will understand. And then collaborate with your colleagues, right? So, think of different prompts that you can use to share best practices and other ways other professionals are using AI right now. So a couple, we're calling good or bad prompts. So we see this. We literally see this in AI Copilot. So a bad, tax deductions. Why is that bad? It's just where does the AI go with that? How specific are you going to get that? And it can be all over the place. So if you said retrieve the latest IRS guidelines for small business tax deductions in 2024, you're telling it when, you're telling it from what source, you're telling it who the target audience is, and then you're telling it what you're looking for. So now I have four contextual variables in that good prompt versus two words, right? Tax law, you guys can read these, but summarize the key changes in the recent tax reform bill affecting corporate tax rates. Again, what do I want it to do? I want it to summarize. What I want the key changes in the recent tax reform bill. And then who is it for? Corporate tax rates. Financials versus analyze financial statements for trends in revenue growth. So I'm telling it trends in what? Revenue growth. When? Over a period of 3 years. Reduce small business taxes. Okay. Identify potential tax saving opportunities for who? Small business owners with revenue over 500,000. So it's going to speak and do research based on your target audience. Okay. And it really helps how to save on equipment taxes, compare and contrast the tax implications of leasing versus buying equipment for a manufacturing business. Again, I think you're starting to understand good prompts are clear, specific, and provide context versus bad prompts that are just, I call them first grade questions, give first grade answers. But this is the best example before I get into the live presentation, which leads us to our next polling question. I think we're going to get into the live stuff next. So why is being patient important for professionals when learning to use AI and asking prompts? A, you don't want AI to get mad at you. B, asking confused questions gets the best results. C, AI has limited application in the field of taxation and accounting, making patience irrelevant. Or D, because mastering AI tools and effectively formulating prompts is a gradual process that improves with practice and understanding. You can tell which one is right here. So D. So if you're about to take a break, don't. We're about to get into the live section, and I think there's 13 different prompts I'm going to go through, which I was correct. So I'm going to do. It depends here on if you're watching this live or not. Otherwise, you might see the recorded version of the webinar. Long story, I just did this is going to be about 25, 30 minutes of just real time asking questions. So bear with me. I have to cut and paste some of the prompts that I've written on the side. But I think you're going to see the power of AI Copilot or any generative AI tool. And then you're also going to start seeing the nuances of writing the prompts. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so this is my favorite part of this presentation where I get into the meat of it and best practices for content creation with tools like AI Copilot. So I'm going to start here. I am going to use our tool since I know the capabilities, and I also know that it is trained in real time with all of the modern data, and it's going to give much more accurate answers. So I have a bunch of different use cases I'm going to go through. Bear with me a little bit here. I am going to be cutting and pasting some copy that I prepared previously for each of the use cases, and I'll kind of give you an explanation for each one. I'm going to try to keep the prompts that I am writing more simplified here, but I have kind of shown you already what some more complex things look like. And at the end of this, I have a couple of use cases that are going to be a little more complex. So the reality here is to get the best outputs, you can't do first grade questions. You need to give it some context, use it as an assistant. The way I think of AI from my personal usage is I'm able to do things now that I would have had to have hired countless people, whether that be copywriters, whether that be researchers, people helping to write webinars, PowerPoints, you name it. I can now do those in a much faster time period than I could have before. And more importantly, my output and my brain power is much higher. So you're going to be able to service more clients quicker and provide better outputs. That is the whole goal here. So number one, best practices, be specific. The more detailed your prompt, the more accurate and useful the AI's response will be. Use keywords. So incorporate relevant keywords into your prompts to guide the AI towards the desired content focus, okay? Define the tone. Do you want it to be humorous? Do you want it to be trustworthy, educational, informative, casual? You want to ensure that matches your practice's brand and your writing style. You want to request examples when appropriate. Use the AI to include, either examples, case studies, real data to illustrate your points. And then We also like to make sure that you clarify who the audience is, right? So who is the intended audience? Is it small business owners? Is it high net worth individuals? Is it gig workers? Because you're going to use different language there. So let's start here with my first use case, which will be writing engagement letters. So my use case is we want to be able to automate the creation of personalized engagement letters for different services. We have trained AI Copilot with various different engagement letters to give it a kind of a good basis. But let's start here. So use case number one, write an engagement letter. So generate an engagement letter for new client requiring tax preparation services, include confidentiality clauses and a summary of the scope of work. If you had put in your personalization information or the client's name, it would personalize all this. So that even saves you more time. I don't want to do that for the purposes of this demonstration. But AI Copilot will quickly go through what is your prompt request and then start doing your output. Here it's creating an actual client letter. You know, the subject, what is it, the engagement letter for tax preparation? What is the scope of work? What is the documentation deadlines? What is my confidentiality clause? You can make this broader, longer, shorter, you know, your idea, it's up to you and when you scope these. But you basically now have created an engagement letter on the fly. And what I like about it is if you use a tool like CountingWorks Pro and our e-sign, you can actually literally cut and paste and create an e-sign for this engagement letter in moments, right? And then instead of going through different templates, try to personalize them, there's a lot of work involved. You're able to get to an output very quickly. So that's use case number one. I'm going to move on now to tax research. I think that is a pretty common use case, one of the most powerful points that AI Copilot can handle now. And when I say we train AI Copilot in real time, well, that's basically our entire community of other tax professionals that are in taxbuzz.com are using the tool to write articles, share their expertise. That information is put into our knowledge base. In addition, our entire suite of our big book of taxes, the IRS publications, state tax code, you name it, we have loaded and trained our model on. So it makes it much more accurate than you will see in a generic chatbot or some tool that is years behind, right? So that's the big problem. If you're using as a tax pro, you got to trust the results. One thing I wanted to show you too, we have an assurance check request inside AI Copilot where a human will actually verify the response. So the next one is I'm going to do, again, super simple tax research, provide a summary of the latest tax laws related to home office inductions for self-employed individuals in California. We'll go ahead and start the prompt. AI Copilot is going to go through and start putting this together. Since we have no new changes yet in 2024, this is where we are going to start with the home office deduction. So it's going to go under the federal tax law, then into the California state tax law. Obviously, California is conforming since 2015. And then some key considerations, documentation, state-specific deductions and credits. And then, of course, hey, consult a professional. And this is a summary of that particular ask. So you could have asked it, do some research on a tax court case. We do allow you to upload PDF files. I'm not going to do that here. And also you can analyze a URL. So the URL would be perfect if you're doing tax research and you wanted it to summarize a tax court case. Go find that website link on the internet, cut and paste it here and say, hey, could you summarize this particular URL? So there's use case number two. I'm going to go now to client email drafting. So what is the use case? Craft personalized emails to clients for updates, reminders, or advice. So think about it in real time. You're at your desk, your client hub, or your email, and you're getting inbound inquiries from clients. One of the biggest issues we see are clients that procrastinate on these type of tasks and they don't quickly answer questions and then things are missed or they load up. So what's nice about AI Copilot is you literally can ask it to draft a letter or response, or let's say you could cut and paste that inbound email or request from that client. It will analyze it and put together a nice response for you, writing it very quickly. Again, the idea is this is getting you 95% of the way. Sometimes you can use things perfectly out of the box. Here I asked for a reminder of upcoming tax filing deadlines and requests for necessary documents. Do you have a date? that you want everything in. I didn't give it more specific things, but I'm just giving you an example. What are the required documents? How do they supply the documents? What are the next steps? If you would put in your firm information and the client information, this would all been personalized as well. But here's just another nice use case. Again, if you save 15 to 30 minutes on doing any of the research on these client requests, and think of someone had asked, let's say about a 529 plan and what they should do, this will now be able to articulate a response very quickly. So there's another use case. I'm going to go on now to newsletter content creation. Obviously, client newsletters are and blogs are some of the best ways for you to stay top of mind with your client base. Utilizing a tool like AI Copilot can save you countless hours in research, writing if you're not the greatest copywriter. If you give it a lot of prompts, this is a very basic one. Normally I would say, make the tone educational, trustworthy, but I just want to give some basic prompts just to see how AI Copilot responds. So here's our next use case, write in a blog article where we ask for a 500-word article. And what do we ask? The benefits of early tax planning, tips on deductible expenses, make the article educational, include a CTA to get help. So here's the article, benefits early tax planning for the upcoming fiscal year, why early tax planning matters. It goes through 4 different items. Tips on deductible expenses gives you a bunch of bullet points, and then a nice call to action to get help. So here's just another way to get you, 95% of the way there. Perhaps this article is good to go as is, but here's another use case using a tool like AI Copilot. So let's move on to social media posts. Our use cases create engaging and informative social media posts to enhance your online presence. And I usually like to use this where I tell it exactly, I'm writing it for Twitter or X as we call it today, or this is for Instagram or LinkedIn, for example. We're going to give it a broad one. We could give this a very focused one, but let's call it tax saving tips for Tuesday, focusing on different strategies for the month. And we'll ask AI Copilot to go ahead and start this, and it will give us each week and some different ideas. So this week, tax saving tips Tuesday. Week 1, maximize retirement contributions. Week 2, HSAs. Week 3, charitable contributions. Now think about this in your day-to-day life. I mean, how long do you work on putting these together now? Just even coming up with the different ideas, right? So I just asked it to do a very basic one, but you could do this. You could have asked it for a year's worth. And you can make it focus on a specific vertical or niche, for example. Let's say I'm concentrating on writing social posts for restaurant owners, and it would target all of that. So it's just another really nice way to improve your marketing and increase your social media success as well. So now let's move on to our next use case, which is proposal writing. So, the use case is crafting detailed proposals for potential clients, outlining services, benefits, and pricing. So again, I'm giving it simple prompts. As I've told you in this webinar, the more context you give it, the more variables, the better the outcomes usually. I like to freeform these, and once you get used to it, you don't have to worry about following a template, even though we provide you some templates. But here you go, proposal for comprehensive tax and accounting services. At our firm, if I had put our firm name in here, it would have included it. What are our suite of services? What is the ROI of our services? So doing, what do we do? What is the pain point and the benefits of using us? Why, would these services matter? Scalability as you grow. Here's some case studies of things that we've done. And what are the different packages that we offer, right? So, and then from there, hey, okay, you're ready to go. What is the next step? Ask for the business. And then kind of a benefit call to action at the end. So again, another super easy way. If you're using CounterWorks Pro's platform, we have a proposal tool that you can now take this content and create a one-to-one proposal, or you can have templates of proposals that you use for different clients and send them out via our tool and actually collect payment up front. And then you can sequence then a proposal that goes into an engagement letter that a client can e-sign. And then it could even put together an intake form. So it's really powerful. So I'm going to go now to market analysis report. So analyzing market trends and generating reports for internal strategy for client advisory work. I'm going to, this one is better suited, and I have some examples in a little bit where you can upload your actual clients' financials. We do not train with AI Copilot. Any documents that are added in the tool as a user, this is only in your ecosystem, and we actually purge this data. It is used through that thread, but that's it. It is not trained on. It is not put into our knowledge base. It is completely private, just like your other documents would be. But this one, I'm just going to, instead of analyzing an actual client, I'm just going to say analyze the current trends in the accounting industry and predict how digital transformations will impact tax practices in the next 5 years. Now, I want you to think about this. You could do the same type of an analysis for a dental firm, for your gig workers, whatever. So it's making you basically create some pretty sophisticated outputs and reports for your clients. And let's just see what it thinks about the accounting industry. What's happening? What are the current trends? Hopefully you're jumping on these trends. Obviously, cloud computing is kind of old news now, right? For most of you. Automation and AI, I think, is the great current wave that we're seeing. Data analytics, I feel this is a huge tool. We're utilizing it in our client hub. We're starting to collect data when you enable it, that any documents that are uploaded, now we can analyze that data and then do proactive planning suggestions. It's going to be awesome. Obviously, cybersecurity, identity theft is a huge deal. And then regulatory compliance. With the politics of today, there's a lot of things that need to be analyzed and looked at. And that's going to be crucial for the future. Predictions for the next 5 years. Adoption of blockchain technology. There's a couple articles of BlackRock and what they are doing with some of this technology. Personalized client services. I think this is a huge area of opportunity. We have done some tutorials on how to utilize AI Copilot, for example, to write one-to-one tax plans, personalized per client, and even include a proposal letter that you outlined what you would do for that particular client based on their variables as the first sales tool. So how do you take a client from a tax prep to a tax planning client, right? A shift towards advisory services, collaborative platforms. Obviously, you're already seeing that. Continuous learning and adaptation. I think this is pretty spot on, but another use case. So let's move on now to client onboarding documents. So what do we mean by that? You can use tools like AI Copilot to create custom intake forms, custom instructions, or even just a process for your client base. So you might have one for accounting clients, a different one for virtual CFO. So how do we create personalized onboarding documents for new clients to streamline the process? I'm going to ask it to, and again, this is simple, generate a welcome packet for new clients that outlines the onboarding process, what documents are needed, and FAQs. If I put in here a welcome packet for my restaurant clients, it would personalize it specifically to that vertical, which would be even more useful, right? So you could make sure that you're getting the most accurate information that you need. So here's a new output for AI Copilot, welcome packet for new clients. If I had, again, personalized it, it would have included that. So this is just a recommendation of how this would look. You can obviously change this up in any way. But here's an onboarding process client. This is what you should expect. Initial setup, engagement letter, secure document transfer, data review and planning, ongoing communication. What are the documents that I need? I need some identification, tax documents, business documents, and then some FAQs. So this is a really big time saver for you, right? And you can, I think, become better organized and create processes in place that are going to make you much more efficient. So another great use case. We're going to move on to compliance checklists. So what is the use case? It's developing checklists for various compliance requirements to ensure clients meet all their legal obligations. So I'm going to do another prompt here. This one's going to be for a comprehensive compliance checklist for nonprofits in the United States. I'm going to go ahead and ask AI Copilot to analyze this. Again, what I love about our tool is just how fast it is, and then more importantly, how accurate it is. So here we go for nonprofit organization, United States, verified tax exempt status, annual tax filings. This has different checkboxes, so confirm your tax exempt status, right? Form 990s, determine the correct form to file, unrelated business income, tax-specific requirements, record keepings, donor acknowledgement, conflict of interest policies, public disclosure. So it's pretty detailed here on what it's going to cover as far as putting this together. So again, a nice use case, probably not used as much, but it's something that you can utilize in your practice. So now I'm going to get into a couple of these that are going to be a little more detailed. I have one more on educational material for clients, and then I'm going to get into writing a tax plan. So you definitely want to stay for this. So the next use case, I want to create educational material for my clients. So what does that mean? Produce educational content to help clients understand complex tax and accounting issues. I'll do a prompt here on the latest tax reform, on business, and then any actionable steps to take advantage of the new tax benefits. So this will now go through and it's going to create a guide, and it's going to talk about different changes that happen to small businesses. You can do it for specific years, and obviously this changes, but it's going to go through different, the corporate tax rate changes, the pass-through entities, depreciation, elimination of certain deductions. There's a lot of things that are in right now that are going to obviously sunset. So as we train things and get it to understand the latest actual changes in sunsetting, I think it will start incorporating that as well. But it's just a great way to utilize a quick way to put together some educational material. All right, so this is where the fun stuff starts. Now let's start working on creating a custom tax plan for a high-end earner. What's the use case here? We want to create a customized tax plan for clients based on their financial data, goals, and changes in tax legislation. I would basically collect, there's two ways to do this. You could upload their tax return. Again, we don't store that data, but you could use that as a starting off point for some of the variables to be entered. But I put together kind of a sample client, and I basically said, they're high-end earners. How old are they? What are their jobs? What are their names? Do they have children? Things like that. I put a lot of different variables here. And then on my prompt, let's say here we want a long form tax plan. Please include details for each section. Make it long and comprehensive. And we always have, it's live, so we always have one typo. All right, so let's give it a little more details and let's see what we can come up with. And we'll go ahead and get AI Pilot working for us. And let's see if it does do. So it starts in on income tax planning. So it's giving us some maximizing deductions and credits. It's talking about income shifting and deferral. It's talking about investment growth. It's talking about retirement planning, estate planning, life insurance. So this is getting into a lot of things, right? So let's look at the college savings as a little thing on 529 plans. What I think I'm going to do is let's ask it when it's done here to give us more information on that. So here's a first look, but let's say we wanted more information, more detail on, please. And now you can take, again, this is just starting point one. I'm trying to teach you how to have a conversation with the AI Copilot. That's a good way to look at it. But it does, again, it's personalizing everything with the Hamilton family. It's going into much more details here, state tax benefits, state planning, front-loading contributions. So a bunch of different details. So again, I'm hoping this is giving you a really good insight on how to utilize the tool from a beginning of writing a prompt and then taking it to more detail like I just did. Again, everything should be proofed. You should look at everything, make sure all the details are there. But this is just another way to get some really nice outputs to get you really close to having some nice reports for clients. All right, so the next use case is analyzing financial statements and providing a financial report. There's a lot of different ways to go with this. I think we're going to do the Tesla Q1 2024 document. Is big, 7.1 megabytes. So this might take a little while to analyze. But the idea here is that you can utilize your clients' income statements, budgets, whatever you want to do, give it some good prompts, and AI is going to be able to go in here and analyze this and provide some general information for you to share with your client, give them some good feedback, some analytical data. This does take a little bit longer since we are feeding, again, a 7 megabyte file. I'm sure the Tesla's update is quite long, but we asked it, what is the financial health? What is the net income? What does it say here? Notable peak in Q4 2023 before a decrease in Q1 2024. So it's nailing this. What is the free cash flow? Drop 2.531, indicating potential liquidity concern. I don't think they're quite there, but you get a general idea. It's showing areas of concern, volatility of net income, decreased adjusted EBITDA. So different recommendations. I wonder if Elon has just been following that. Enhance cost management, improve cash management, diversify revenue streams. They have come out with their self-driving car and their robots. So there's some big things. Maybe Elon was analyzing his business through AI Copilot. But anyways, this is just another use case trying to show you how it works. Again, if you're using a tool like AI Copilot, we do not train on your client's data. This is for your use case only, your eyes only. So let's get into, and then I just wanted a couple of best practices on this. Again, clarity and detail, provide clear, detailed descriptions of the financial statements and any specific areas of concern for interest or analysis. If you had some KPIs that you have for an industry, you could compare those financials to those KPIs. What is the clarity and detail? Provide clear and detailed descriptions. What is your objective? I want to request unbiased analysis that considers all aspects of the financial health of the business. And then we want actionable items. So ensure recommendations are practical, actionable, and tailored to the business size, industry, and specific circumstances. But that is most of them. I wanted to finish my prompt review here on just something fun. So let's play a game of the tax code trivia challenge. Provide 5 intriguing trivia answers or questions and then answers. Make sure the questions vary from easy to hard. So let's just play it out. And it is conversation. Think of it again as AI Copilot is your assistant. And it's not just one assistant. It's like having an army of assistants. So it's wonderful. But I was sitting here, and the reason I did this one is I thought it'd be kind of fun. But it also is something if you wanted to do some trivia on social media, trivia on your website with clients, making things interesting. You could do a trivia contest, right? You could make some forms, some intake. Here's the easy one. What year the tax code first introduced? 1913. With medium size, medium hard, hard, and then very hard. So it's a lot of fun. I just trying to play around. But this is kind of the overview of the different prompts and samples. Again, I'm using AI Copilot as our demonstrator. This was all done in real time in one sequence, so you can see how powerful the tool is and how quick it is. So I hope you can appreciate what it can do for you and your practice. While AI can provide preliminary analysis and generate reports, it's important that humans come in and do the human oversight, right? Specifically when you have strategic implications of tax and financial decisions and compliance with relevant tax and accounting standards and regulations. So these use cases demonstrate the potential of tools, artificial intelligence tools, and they really can show you how you can significantly enhance the value of your practice to your clients, right? From strategic tax planning to in-depth financial analysis and advisory services to literally getting more output per partner, per staff member. If you got your entire team using a tool like AI Copilot, you can see really the benefits. But we'll continue on with the rest of this webinar and presentation and answer any questions you have at the end. All right, I think that was awesome. I think that was like 27 minutes. You can see just how quickly it can analyze things, how quickly it can do tasks for you. I don't know how long those 13 different requests would have taken if we had done those in the old way, but I hope you're impressed. So a recap and key takeaways, embracing AI in tax and accounting. I have 4 points here. Collaboration over competition. Again, it's a tool to enhance, not replace you. It's going to make you better. You're going to get huge efficiency gains. You're going to automate a lot of routine tasks. You're going to love this. You're going to be able to focus on more complex value-added activities that you can bill for. There's going to be huge economic advantages for the professionals who are using AI to those that are not. I think it's going to really start hurting those that are just, they're so set in their ways, they're not going to start adapting. You're going to be at a real disadvantage, and others are going to be offering services you can no longer compete with. And more importantly, I think the knowledge empowerment, right? So understanding and utilizing AI equips you to work smart. I think it makes you the superhero. It helps you work smarter, not harder. I think you can have a better life, work-life balance if you use this with the amount of time it's going to save you. So it's really, really fun. So now the infomercial part of this, I hope you've been impressed by AI Copilot. That is the technology that my company has developed over the last year and a half. We are working on this very hard. We are getting huge leaps every week. We add new features, we improve things. These are the kind of 5 things we do. Efficiency at your fingertips. We are integrating these into our CountyWorks Pro marketing and engagement automation platform. So you're going to see more and more tools that are going to save in that autopilot versus the Copilot version, right? You're going to see a lot of enhanced accuracy, the tailored insights, secure and confidential. Again, any of the files that are uploaded or shared through your own login are only yours. That is not trained on our knowledge base. There is no copies of it being saved on our servers. It is there just for that thread. So definitely that's important. And then obviously continuous learning. And what's great about the TaxBuzz version, if you're in that community, anytime you write articles, you're actually training our knowledge base. So you could be an expert in, let's say, some expat tax in some country that no one's really talking about. You can actually be the expert that trains our artificial intelligence tool, the AI Copilot, and then we actually reference you as the professional. So it helps you with your thought leadership. It helps you actually might even get some leads. So I'm hoping you are excited about what I've shown you today and you want to learn how AI Copilot can save you thousands of hours per year. This is our last polling question. The answer here is hopefully yes. And if it is yes, we'll have one of our strategists reach out to you and kind of look at your practice and kind of show you these are all the different solutions that we can use to help you now. So getting started is easy. One, you can sign up for a free tour. You can either go to taxbuzz.com, hit the pricing. You can sign up for a free account there. We give you a certain amount of free tokens. We also integrate that in our CountyWorksPro.com marketing automation platform. So we use the technology in both. So if you are a professional of ours, definitely you can go to our demo page and a strategist can kind of walk you through how that works as well. And then if you do join our community, you can do that at taxbuzz.com. So I'm hoping you want to be part of, I think we've had 29,000 people sign up so far into the TaxBuzz version of AI Copilot. So it's definitely a big growing element of our business, and we're looking forward to having more and more of you take advantage of it. So if you're ready to revolutionize your workflow, please sign up for our free tours and experience the future. Again, visit taxbuzz.com or countyworkspro.com. And each one has kind of a different, use cases and workflows and different technology stack. Again, thank you very much for joining me today, and I look forward to seeing you on another webinar. Thank you.